Now, Law 18 of the 48 Laws of Power is a really important one, and to be honest with you, I would venture to guess that everyone watching this has some experience with this. So, Law 18 is do not build a fortress to protect yourself, isolation is dangerous. And like I said, pretty much everyone watching this has experience with this because we've all been through COVID. Some of us were older, some of us were younger, doesn't matter, but the isolation during that time was actually pretty insane for a lot of people. It drove a lot of people crazy, and I think we're still seeing the effects of that right now. And while in the book it talks about isolation in like a fortress, how, just even if you're in a fortress to protect yourself, like a good quote from the book is, even a failed siege will turn your fortress into a prison. I feel like this law is better suited to what I was talking about previously. Although there are other things that they've said where even just isolation, if you do isolate yourself, you don't have your ear to the ground. You don't know what's going on in the world because you're isolated. And even if you're not running like a country, that can be really detrimental. Like, you'll lose out on opportunities. You don't know what's changing. So there's things like that is a good reason why to not isolate yourself. But what I mainly think about is mental health. And like I said before, honestly, I don't know how old any of you guys are, but I've lived a decent amount of time pre-pandemic. Like, had a full adult life kind of thing. And I realized when pandemic hit, there was a huge switch. People just lost their minds. It got really bad, and it's still bad, and that's why I feel like the country is like way more divided than it used to be because of that isolation. And my point to say this is, you're either in an echo chamber by yourself or in an echo chamber with small amounts of people. You don't have your ear to the ground. You don't have or if you do have your ear to the ground, it's like literally in just this one room, to put it in that kind of way. But you don't have the ability to see other things and experience other things. So especially that isolation will narrow your mindset. It'll narrow your point of view. And if you're in an echo chamber with other people, or just not even with other people, by yourself, it's just your mental health will deteriorate, and you'll go down lines of thinking that will cause you to be extremely radical. Overall, not good. I mean, that's why I've also had like videos in the past, or like a couple videos I was talking about red pill and MGTOW. Like, that's the reason why I posted those videos, because don't get me wrong, I've delved into that stuff myself, hit that phase, but I've also realized that it's a big echo chamber, and if you're stuck in that echo chamber, you don't see the outside world. And if you do watch those videos, that's what you're going to see me talking about. It's not even talking bad about the movement, but it's like, okay, like, yeah, understand what I'm talking about in these videos, but move forward. Apologies, I should say understand what the key principles of that stuff is about, but move forward. You're stuck in that pain, and being isolated and stuck in an echo chamber like that is a huge problem, because once again, you don't know what the outside world is. Your world is this bubble. You only see the stuff in this bubble. You're not going outside and you're like, oh crap, the laws of physics don't apply outside this bubble. And it's like, dude, there's so many other viewpoints to something. But even in the basic sense of isolation, you're taking yourself away from your friends, your support system. It does make you easier to manipulate, because then you will hit a point where you're just willing to talk to anyone or believe anyone, potentially. And once again, like I said, that makes you easier to manipulate because you have no interaction with the outside world. You no longer have friends. Like, your viewpoint is very closed-minded. You have nothing to base anything off of. And just the fact that as humans, we're social creatures, so we do need the social activity, and this part really hits me hard. Because if you listen to my videos for any long stretch of time, you've probably heard me say, like, I am a very solitary person. I've done stuff a lot alone, and it doesn't bother me. And, like, honestly, probably a decade ago, it probably would have. I wouldn't go places alone. And it's good to have that ability to do that. And I'm going to do another video on being able to be in your solitude, but it gets to a point where it's too much. I've had this talk recently with a friend of mine where he's seen the decline of that, where I don't notice it, but like it had put me in like a really bad mental space, and like even having jobs and businesses that isolate me, it really has affected me. I don't see it. It's been a slow change. And not to say that I'm crazy or that I talk to myself in public or that I have very radical views or that I'm like a feral cat. I can't be socialized. Like, I still do socialize with people, but it's not what it used to be. I used to be able to socialize way more, and to be honest with you, I see myself preferring to be alone more and more in that sense. So just be careful. That's all I have to say. And I mean, at this point, if I say any more, I'm just going to be repeating stuff. So if you don't know me, my name is Brendan. This is The Lost Tribe. If you like this content, hit that like button. Leave a comment down below what you think about this law of power, or if you've had any experience with it. And to be honest with you, just comment anything. Like, I have experience with this law, so I'm always willing to help with things. And if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button because clearly you like the content. Once again, Brendan, Lost Tribe. Peace out, mother trucker.